Welcome to the Home Inspector Marketing Podcast. Because you're a home inspector looking to increase your sales, improve your cash flow, and boost your bottom line, you are in the right place. For additional training resources on how you can grow your home inspection business, go to microreturns.com right now. And now, here's the podcast.
Hi, this is Mike Crow, and I run a home inspection business. In fact, I've run a couple of home inspection businesses. The true joy for me, though, has been helping literally thousands of home inspectors build really solid home inspection businesses as well. We can help a single-man operation be able to do over $300,000 a year, maybe all the way up to $400,000 a year as a single inspector operation. Even better for me is the 80-plus companies that we have helped be able to build million-dollar home inspection businesses. I would like to help you be able to do the same thing.
Welcome back to part 2 of our series on goal planning. If you haven't heard part 1, be sure to go back and listen to it first.
Now let's talk a little bit about how to plan your year to get you where you want to be. And I want you to keep something in mind here. This is something that I saw come across my desk, and it said, your past is important, but it is not nearly as important to your present as the way you see your future. Let me repeat that for you. Your past is important, but it's not nearly as important to your present as the way you see your future. You know, in reaching your goals, I find that people take some missteps. And if I can tell you 3 or 4 things not to do, that might actually make some of the other things work well for you. So let me go that direction here first. There are some missteps that people take that you need to be aware of so you can make progress even faster. You know, some of the problems to face to start with goal setting that most folks in programs run into is, number one here, is most people only set goals at one time, usually at the beginning of the year. Worse, many people make New Year resolutions, which are often given up on within days and most within weeks. So you need to set goals more often. And even better is if you can set those goals and inform friends of them so they can help you be accountable in achieving them. But not only accountable, you know, hopefully maybe they could even show you some shortcuts. You know, I get to see this over and over again. One of the secret, very powerful things that we do on the coaching calls is we allow people to share some of their goals. And the camaraderie built by this is huge. Team members tell me all the time how much of a difference it really makes to belong to a group of home inspectors that are not afraid to honestly share what their successes have been with each other. And by the way, what doesn't work in their marketing. And, so they talk about their biggest home runs and even some of their biggest blunders. But we do that on a regular basis because we do it twice a month in most cases. You need to make sure you're setting your goals more than just once for the year. Number 2, the second problem is that often when people do set goals, there's no action plan put in place to help make sure that those goals become a reality. You know, I like positive thinking, and I even enjoy things like The Secret, which I think was a wonderful program that came out, and many of you probably heard about it. If you haven't, go check it out. It's a great thing. You know, I even had my kids sit down, and I watched it with them. Now, however, there is more needed for success than just thinking, I am successful. In reality, in fact, more is needed than just thinking about success. If all you do is think about success, you know what? They're going to come and take your house away. So again, you must attach an action plan to your goals. There are some important things to keep in mind. Your brain, for instance, right now might be telling you what I'm teaching you won't work. It doesn't like change. It's afraid of looking or being different. And you know what? I understand that. There's an exercise, by the way, that I use to help me with this, and I teach it on one of my other coaching calls. But it's so important, I want to share it with you real quick. You know, that voice in your head has a volume knob, and it's trying to tell you right now that the goals are a waste of time. No one can ever actually accomplish their goals. It's just like putting dreams on paper. Well, now I'm going to teach you one of the strongest techniques I learned. Take that volume knob, take hold of it, and turn that voice up louder and louder and louder so it's practically screaming at you. Well, good. But now, take hold of that volume knob and turn the voice down lower and lower and lower until it's almost a whisper. And it's a remarkable thing to know that you have control over the voice in your head that's trying to take control of you. I don't know how many of you realize this, but your brain thinks it has a contract over you. And it's not just, writing your goals that this can happen with. You know, that voice, for instance, will tell you reasons you can't do something. Well, turn those voices up. Let them get as loud as they want. But then take hold of that volume knob and turn it down further and further and further, all the way down, until you can get done what you really know in your heart you need to do to be able to move your business to the next level. All right, number 3. The third piece of the puzzle is that you need to track your progress. How do you know if you're reaching your goals and if you aren't measuring your success? If you're not measuring your success, how do you know you're reaching your goals? You may have heard me say this before if you've ever been on any of my coaching calls or whatever, and it's a phenomenal truth, okay? Everything measured improves. And everything measured and reported on improves exponentially. That is one of the main reasons we give everyone a chance to report on their progress on each and every call. And it's kind of funny. You know, some people think that it's all about building large multi-inspector firms and dominating your entire market. The simple truth is, these basics of businesses apply to companies large and small. The single-man operation needs to be measuring and reporting his progress, if nothing else, to himself, or hopefully maybe to some trusted peers, just as much or more than a multi-inspector firm. And whether your ambition is to grow a multi-inspector firm or your ambition is to maximize your revenue, profitability, and your quality of life as a single-man operation, this information applies directly to your business as well. Alrighty. So let me do this here real quick. I'm going to try to go a little slower here because I'd like for you to write these 5 things down. You can turn one of the pieces of paper over maybe that has action steps on it, but write these things down. The success formula that never fails. Number 1, know what your outcome is. Number 1, know what your outcome is. Number 2, develop an action plan. Number 2, develop your action plan. Number 3, take action. Number 3, take action. Number 4 is kind of long here, so just think about this for just a second. See what you're doing that's working and do more of it. See what you're doing that's not working, get rid of it, and try something else. See, number 4 is basically trying to say, measure what you're doing and respond to it properly. Okay? So number 4 is see what you're doing is working and do more of it. See what you're doing that's not working and try something else. And number 5 is never give up. Now, here's what I want you to keep in mind with the success formula. Number 1 was know what your outcome is. Number 2 was develop an action plan. Number 3 was take action. Number 4 was see what you're doing that's working and do more of it. And if it's not working, then try something else. And number 5 is never give up. You see, you could do number 1 and number 2 and even number 3. But if you don't track your actions towards your goals, then you could actually be doing things that are working against you instead of taking you in the direction you're going. So it's important to track your progress. All right. Number 4, you know, the final thing that is important that I've taught even from the beginning of our program is to make sure, and let's see here, make sure that you have some emotional connection to the outcome of the action. In other words, what will motivate you and keep you motivated to actually see your goals to completion? You know, many people see lofty goals but don't really have the desire or reason to see them through. This is why so many things distract them from succeeding. You know, life is full of challenges and obstacles, and the truth is, it's kind of the world's way of seeing if you deserve what it has to offer. Are you serious about the goal you set, or is it just a fantasy or just a whim? You will be tested, and just expect it. Therefore, you must have a strong emotional connection to completing the goals to make sure that everything's working for you. All right. This is why many people set goals at the beginning of the year, and by the end of the year, they have they've completely set them aside. Now, as we move forward, I want you to be thinking about your goals. In fact, I'm going to help you work through some of those here in just a second because it's one of the most important things maybe I could do to help you this year move to the next level. One of the things that I want you to consider here is, again, number 1 is one of the key factors is to be prepared to set your goals more than once. You know, one of the things that I hear people say is that the truly successful people is that my goals are flexible or that they're living goals. Just like someone would say this is a living document. You know what? That's absolutely correct. You have to adjust and flex as the market and the world flexes sometimes. So you set your goals more than once. Number 2, then we need to make sure that you set a specific action plan to achieve those goals. And we're going to talk about how to make that happen here in just a little bit. Number 3, Then make sure you have a way to track those goals. This will help you stay motivated because you will be able to see your progress. Number 4, and as we go here, I will show you how to make sure you keep a deep emotional connection to your goals. Not an emotional connection to the extent that if you don't achieve your goals, you're devastated. That would not do any of us any good. What I'm talking about here is a deep emotional connection. So if you aren't achieving your goals, you have the desire to change direction, if necessary, to get the job done. Basically, keeping an eye on even when times get tough, as they have for many of the inspectors today. I had one coach teach me that, by the way, if it never gets tough on you, then you need to ask yourself, well, was that really a good goal? Small goals can be easy, and you won't find a lot of obstacles when you try to achieve small goals. Now, I've given you 2 sheets to help you with the goal-setting process because it is so much more effective if your goals are written down. I don't want to take a lot of time on the importance of writing down your goals. Most of you have probably heard that, but trust me, they're real, and you need written goals. All right. These are just a sample of what we put on our member website, by the way, when we do our coaching calls for members. Now, the following process we are going to go through here are from a number of sources that I've worked with over the years. I've worked with a tremendous amount of different coaches, and I've studied so many of these coaches, and they all have a way of helping folks plan because it's so important to your success. These forums are just one of the processes where a coach that I know have combined several of the processes together, and then I've taken a couple of steps further to make sure that you're taken care of. So if you're not doing all the pieces of this, what I'm getting ready to go through on these 2 sheets plus a couple more, then, you could have a very difficult year. However, if you do what we're talking about and put all these pieces into place, you're going to have a completely different world by the end of the year. All right. When you plan to succeed, and you start to take action, it's interesting, by the way, to see how you get lucky sometimes. Though, is it really luck? And of course not. I doubt that. I consistently have inspectors tell me that just because they walked into an office with our Big Bang marketing, they received inspections they wouldn't have otherwise received, and they felt it was just because they were being lucky. But it wasn't luck. They were out there working on marketing their business. It's kind of like what Thomas Jefferson once said. I find the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. And, of course, it helps when you know some of the best ways to work when doing something like marketing your company. Now, in fact, I had 2 inspectors that come to mind as we discussed this. Let me just share them with you here real quick. One of them walked into the office using our Big Bang marketing, and he ran into an agent that said something like, hey, I thought you were out of business since I never hear from you anymore. And so they actually renewed their acquaintances, and he ended up with a $2,000 commercial job. Pretty impressive. And then another inspector last week, I think it was, informed me that an agent that had not used him for quite some time recently set him up to do 20 townhomes like the next week. Now, of course, these are some of the really good stories that I hear, and maybe your success with the Big Bang marketing won't be starting with a flashy $2,000 commercial inspection. Maybe your success will be found, though, in breaking into brand new offices that don't usually use you and earning the respect and business of some of the top players in those offices. In fact, I hear weekly from our members doing the Big Bang marketing and the successes that they're having. In fact, many of those inspectors that start that 8-week Big Bang marketing program that I've taught them have now made it a consistent part of their marketing because it has been so effective for them. We teach the systems to implement and even help them implement them in some ways. So it's a big thing here. Soon, in fact, they discover as it works, it starts bringing in money. Once you know it works and you make the decision to add it to your system, then you can run it with much greater ease, or even here, one of the biggest tricks is you have someone else run it for you. And then choose another marketing or business building system to try, and then you assimilate that into your repertoire. Before long, you have a whole armory of marketing and business building systems. And now you can just adjust the volume knobs in either geographical areas or with certain offices to help conquer and build your business and make sure that your business goals are being taken care of.